I'm great. Thank you.
I
Feeling
love it.
better. I'm feeling better in my second trimester.
I was gonna say congrats on the baby girl.
Thank you. Yeah, we're super happy. I'm so excited.
Do you know what you're gonna name her?
Not yet. We're working on it.
You have time. How much time do you have?
So I'm on approaching my 18th week, so we have a good amount of time.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I loved your gender reveal party.
Thank you.
That
Yeah.
looked like so much fun. It was like a what was the theme?
Well, we basically had an obstacle course race where
Yeah,
there was, a boy representative and a girl representative in like the giant fat suits, the blow up fat suits,
yeah.
and they were racing this obstacle course and they knew the gender. So they put on like a show.
Oh, they knew it.
Yeah, they knew the gender but we didn't, nobody else did. And so they knew who had to win, right? So when the pink
The
when
girl won.
yeah, she won. Then we also had like the cannons with the
Yeah,
powder. Yeah, so it
it
was
was so
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, it was super fun. We wanted to do something different. So,
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. It looks like you're in a great place in life. You got engaged and you have your book out and now you're having a baby. It's amazing.
all the things. Yep, it's all
All the
happening.
amazing, all the amazing things. So, just a little introduction on Ashley. She's a branding and consulting. You own a branding and consulting company, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you help people with, let's say, like the SEOs and like how to target the right customers, their media or content strategies, right? Stuff like that.
Yeah, we mostly specialize in branding. We work at with different levels, right?
Right.
So we have a group program that's for newer entrepreneurs that are looking to either launch or grow their online brand and business. And then we have a full service agency, right? So that's more of like a mastermind group. And then we have a full service agency that actually builds out the whole online presence for more established personal brands. And I work with mostly women.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Like why? Like, do you choose to do that way? Like, do you say no to male customers?
No, I have some male clients. But I decided at some point during my journey, it was in my second mastermind group that I ran, and I just realized that I have a true, like, I desire to serve women because it's coming
Yeah.
from a pain that I used to have where I struggled with having healthy females in my life and having female friendships and creating like sisterhood. And so that has now become my power and my purpose. It's a big part of what I am out there creating right
Yeah.
now. And so I had like males, but it was always like two or three out of all
Right.
of them, out of the whole group. And so I just decided at one point just to stick with women. And for my more high profile clients that are more established, I still do work with men. It's just predominantly women because that's who I attract.
I love that. It's like you figured out what you lacked prior and like before, and you made it work for you in your adult life.
Yeah,
And
pain to purpose.
yeah, you talk about that in your book and in a lot of your videos too. How you basically, like had that big switch and big change for yourself in your life. And I actually wanted to talk to you about that. Like, how do you start doing something like that as somebody who had all this like pain, like suffering, and probably wasn't that confident to begin with, and now writes a book that's called Magnetic Confidence. So how do you make a switch that big?
Mm-hmm. A lot of work. A
Yeah, I
lot of
bet.
work. So investing in myself, it was the best decision I ever made. So I went through a 4-month long transformational training,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called ALA Ascension Leadership Academy. I quote it I put them in my book and everything because I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but I will forever be grateful for that experience. It was truly the catalyst to everything. And that's where I started. I started there, and that opened my eyes to all the things I was either A, not seeing at all, or B, refusing not to see.
Yeah.
And it just all came to the forefront and all came to the surface. And it was really powerful. It was the most powerful experience I've ever had. And then from there, I continued to invest in myself. So right now I have 2 coaches. I'm a part of 2 masterminds, right? Like that's my journey, and that's the path I'm on, and it's what I stand for. It's also, you know, part of the reason, a huge reason why I'm paying it forward, right? I'm paying it forward
Right.
to my clients and making sure that they have the support that they need, so that they know they're not doing this alone, and that they can get through to the other side. I call, like, coaching is really like, it's not something that you need, right? No one needs coaching. It's a desire for someone who is like me, who wants to quantum leap, who wants to take the jet plane instead of the rowboat,
Yeah.
right? Who knows that, like, all right, I'm here. I want to get there. I know I could get there on my own. Everyone
What's
could
the
get there on their
fastest
own.
way? Yeah.
Right. But when you get a coach, someone who's been there, who can support you, and they're where you want to be, you'll just get there that much quicker.
Yeah, and I love that you're not afraid to ask for help. You know, it's like you're not going to be able to do everything yourself. It's okay to like outsource and let people help you sometimes.
Well, it's not even that it's okay. Like, you get to,
Necessary.
like,
Yeah.
you must, because there's no way you were not meant to do everything,
Yeah.
because you're meant to be in your highest and best use. And there's plenty of things that I coach my clients through this all the time, is there's plenty of things that we do that are simply not our highest and best use. And they actually dilute our energy. They dilute our power. They drain us.
Yeah.
And we do them either because we want to maintain that control and we're scared to let go and trust someone else to do it, or because we think that we can't get the support and we're not worthy of it. We're afraid to ask. We're afraid to go
Yeah.
there. We're afraid that we won't be able to have that it's too much, right? So there's all these reasons we can come up with and create.
Yeah.
But you look at all the most successful, you know, I look at my coach, Regan, right? My coach is Regan Hillier, and she has delegated her life. Her whole life is delegated, and she lives in the most optimal way because of that.
You know, it's funny you say that, because like I'm such a big believer in, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. Just because every time I have asked for help, I've just ended up doing it myself. But maybe that just goes back to not having picked the right person to help. So you like build up like a few bad experiences when you did ask for help, and then it becomes this like blueprint of like, no, I'm just not gonna ask for help, I'm gonna do it myself. But then yeah, it comes down to that, having like control. When you do it yourself, you always have control. And you know what, if you mess it up, you have yourself to blame. You know, it's much easier than like having somebody else to blame. But it's such a skill you have to learn. Like I personally need to work on this. Like I need to learn how to ask for help and just like let people take some stuff like off of my plate.
Mm-hmm. And it has a lot to do with your core beliefs,
Yeah.
because you're going to radiate that, and then you'll also attract that. So if your belief is that no one can do it as good as I can, or everyone's going to mess it up, or whatever your core beliefs, like whatever you're choosing to believe, which there's a lot of things that we believe that we're just not aware that we believe it, because we haven't done the internal audit to like bring all those beliefs to the surface.
Right.
So I had some beliefs that were not supporting me in being in my highest and best use. And a lot of it was, I don't believe that anyone can get it done correctly. Like, I don't
Yeah.
believe that anyone can do it right. Like, I don't believe that like I'm going to be the best I believe that I'm going to be the best person to do it all. And so I had that because I'm a controller personality type. So the thing is there is that those beliefs, our belief system is what we operate from.
Right.
We are, you know, it's not, and here's the thing, our beliefs are not rational. Like, we are not rational, logical beings. We're multi-dimensional beings.
And very
We are
emotional.
believing beings.
Right.
And we create our reality. We steer our life based on our beliefs, our belief systems. So when I was having these beliefs, of course I was being let down, because of course we are case builders. We're going to go out there and build our cases, right? We're going to build our beliefs. If we're going to believe that, we're going to look for evidence to support that belief, that case.
Right.
So I wasn't, I didn't have good experiences when I first started outsourcing. Once I worked on my beliefs and started letting go of control and knowing that this was the best thing for me and my expansion, I mean, I can't tell you, I don't know what I would do without my team. My team is, I pray every morning when I'm in my morning prayers, I say gratitude for every single one of my team members. I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah. And it's like to build that trust with people, to knowing that like they will do their best, as if it's like their own brand, as if it's their own company, and they're not gonna like, have, I mean, everybody has shortcomings and it's like obviously acceptable, but like they're gonna take care of it like it's their own.
And that comes from you. So we source that, right? So if I'm trusting someone to, and I'm not micromanaging, I'm empowering them by trusting them, right?
Yeah.
So then they're empowered to be trustworthy. So when we're trusting them at that level, they're going to rise to that level. So that's a really important piece. And I do that time and time again, with my team, because I want them to feel like I trust them so that they feel empowered to be at their highest level with me.
Yeah. And that's such a smart managerial tactic to do. Robert Greene talks about this in his 48 Laws of Power. I don't know if you've read that book. It's a famous one. And like he says, assume the whatever it is that you want somebody to have, assume they already have it, and act as if they already have it, and thank them for having it. So that makes them have to act and level up to your expectation of them. So it's like if you are basically putting trust in people and showing them that you have so much trust in them and their ability, that's actually like much better than kind of like being on the sidelines waiting for them to fuck up so you can like come and like fix it, assuming that you can trust people.
Absolutely. Because they feel that, because we're energetic beings. They will absolutely feel that, and they will respond accordingly. So that's the energetic piece, which is obviously, that is the most important. That is the fundamental, like that's what you build upon. Now, then you have the other side of it, which is more building things like the strategy piece. So the strategy piece is systems. You've got to create systems in your business, SOPs, standard operating procedures. My whole business runs off of them. The reason being is because when something happens, a mistake happens, an error is made, it's never the person's fault. It's a fault in the system. Therefore, it's an opportunity to improve upon the system. So whenever something happens, I don't say, so-and-so, what's wrong with you? Like, why didn't you remember that? I say, all right, what do we got to do to improve the system so this never happens again? Where is the gap in the system and the SOP and the checklist that we get to fill so that this no longer happens, so it's no longer an issue? So we have a whole database that's full of SOPs for different positions in our company and different categories of tasks and what have you, so that we're operating from that instead of operating off of, because there's human error. It's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But when you're operating off of systems, you're minimizing the error, the human error in your company.
And you mentioned that like having basically like a mentor, having a business coach, or like the mastermind you're talking about. Would that be like the same as mentorship?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, call it whatever you want. I mean, guide, coach, mentor.
How do you go about, or like, how did you, like, since obviously you're an example of somebody who had a successful business coach or a mentorship, how did you go about picking them? Because I feel like a lot of times people think like, oh, this is the person that I want to be like, and and obviously like you want to pick your mentor as somebody who you want to be similar to, right? Someone that you would want to somehow in one way or not follow their footsteps. But a lot of times I feel like people make this mistake of picking the biggest person ever in whatever industry that is. And when they go after those people to be their mentor, and obviously like they either get turned down or they probably won't even get a response because like that person is like so big in their industry, so they get like discouraged to do that. So what are some tips that you have in like seeking a mentor?
So I've never had that issue personally. When I have found, so my first mentor was Gary Vaynerchuk, and that was like my first business mentor that I ever had. And
That's Gary V, right?
Gary V.
Right. I mean, he's pretty big. How did you get him to be your mentor?
So I met him at an event,
Mm-hmm.
and the event was like a whole, like there was a bunch of people networking, talking, whatever. And I knew who he was. This is before Gary was big. So this was probably 6 years ago, maybe
Mm-hmm.
7, give or take. And he, like, to give you a frame of reference, he probably had like 100K followers on Instagram if
Oh,
we're going by
wow.
that
Okay.
metric, right? So now he has millions, right? So
Right.
that's where he was at that point. Well, I knew of Gary because I've been passionate about branding and marketing since I discovered it in college. So I read like all of his books. And my favorite one was Jab, 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 Right Hook. And I had tweeted about Jab, 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 Right Hook. And we had got to talking, and he said that he remembered my tweet. And so then from there, we just started talking all about branding and business. And then he helped me and supported me in a powerful way. And not that like our calls were 10-minute calls, maybe 15 minutes, but the amount that the coaching that I would get in that 10 minutes was profoundly valuable. It was like, I could attend a 2-hour seminar, a 3-hour seminar, and it wouldn't even come close to the value that I created and that he created with me in that 10-minute
How
span.
so? Like in 10 minutes, what could he possibly
Well, here's the thing about that. Number one, Gary is not afraid to interrupt. I do this in my coaching as well. I learned this from him, being lovingly interruptive, because when he knows where I'm going. Like he know when I'm asking him a question, when I start to go somewhere, he already knows where I'm going. So he, instead of listening to me and letting me go on and on and on, he just stops me and he goes where he feels he gets to go. And so that's the first piece. And then the second piece is when you have those calls, like I have this set up in one of my masterminds where they have 15-minute weekly check-in calls with their personal coaches.
Right.
And the thing about this is I get so much feedback about how powerful, how much value is created in those calls. The reason being is because you only got 15 minutes. Like right. I knew I only had 10 minutes with Gary. So I came prepared to that call. I was intentional. I was prepared. I wanted to squeeze the juice out of that call. So there's something about the intention piece, the energy behind the knowing that you have that much time with somebody. You know what I'm saying? It makes it that much more.
You become a lot more specific.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally. And then from there, the second mentor I got was at a conference that I ended up going to. I ended up going to this conference, believe it or not, about how to publish your book, which I ended up at a very random way. And the guy who was leading the conference, there was 2 men leading it. I ended up hiring him because I felt so much resonance with him. I felt in my body, in my bones, everything was saying I needed to hire him. He was $25,000. I didn't have that money. So I had to call my credit card company, get an extension in my credit line. They granted it to me, thank goodness. I paid for the full $25K on my credit card. And that was the best. I quadrupled that money within a year or less, actually. And then,
and what did that guy do for your company?
He was my business coach.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was Ed Rush.
Wow, they're that expensive? Well, I bet like a good one.
Oh yeah, you should. So my next coach after that was Laura Wright. I love Laura. She's awesome. And she really specializes in sales and also structuring programs. So she's really great at like packaging and pricing programs and things like that. And she was $25,000 for half the amount of time that Ed was. So if I wanted her for the year, that would have been $50,000, right? And I had Ed for the year. And then now my current business coach, Regan, was a $72,000 investment. So every time that I've hired a coach, I've leveled up I've leveled up every single time. And so therefore I'm hiring coaches at an even higher caliber every single time.
What has been like their biggest impact on your business, let's say?
Each different. For Gary, it was a lot. Like Gary was my beginning. So that was kind of its own. He just really supported me in getting started. That was I was hiding and he called me out. So that was Gary. And then with Ed, he supported me a lot in my worthiness. And I was having such trouble with pricing myself and my worthiness. And he supported me so much with that. And with selling also, Ed is incredible at selling and enrolling. He's a very enrolling human being, just his aura. So that piece. And then Laura definitely supported me the most with structure, with strategy, with creating different packages to really hit my income goals. And Regan, my current coach, she is now connecting me into, because I really mastered the masculine part of running my business. She's supporting me with really, really mastering stepping into the feminine and leading from my feminine desire and spirituality and all of that. It's been a beautiful experience with her. I've made the most money I've ever made working with Regan. And it's because energy is everything. And I could learn all the strategies from Gary, from Ed, from Laura, and trust me, it was super valuable. And I got so much value from that and made a lot of money from that. And this next level with Regan is truly what I was missing. It's like there's a whole portal that's been opened and activated for me when it comes to leading my business and running my business from my feminine.
I love that. So it's like in the beginning, try to get a mentor, obviously, to like build yourself up. And like, then when you can finally afford it, then you can get actual business coaches, which I've never had one, but I'm assuming it's like, they're like your parents as an adult, right? They're like your business parents in a sense. Cause you know how like when you were kids, or like we were kids, and like we would always like be put in check, and like somebody would, like our parents would tell us like, do your homework, now go to bed, now eat your food. And life was so structured, right? And then you become an adult, and sometimes it feels like things are like just spilling from the corners and you like forget about them. And I feel like having a type of person like that in your life who can really put you in check and make sure you're doing the things that are necessary for your business and for your brand, whatever it may be, it's like, I can totally see the value in that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the accountability piece is definitely huge, which is what you're referring to, is the accountability. Absolutely. And also having someone that you can go to, like when you have questions, when something happens in your business, like right now, I'm having some issue with planning my next retreat, right? And there's some new things that have come up, opportunities that I'm at a standstill. I'm like, I don't know what the F to do about all this. What would I do if I didn't have a coach? I'd got to figure it out on my own. I might make some mistakes because I've never done this before, blah, blah, blah. I reach out to Regan because Regan has probably hosted hundreds of retreats. Okay. I message her and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm coming up against. Da, 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 da. And she saves me, again, quantum leaping here. Remember? So she saves me all that time, stress, energy, all those things. And she just supports me. She's like, oh, okay, here's what we got. Okay, so da, 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 da. And then boom, got it all laid out within 5 minutes. 5 minutes, which would have taken me who knows how long, weeks, to figure out a solution. Most people, right? Doing all the research, figuring it all out, trying to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody that's been there, done that, they can support you so that it saves you. Again, it's literally the jet plane to where you want to go versus the rowboat trying to do it on your own.
And I mean, like you were talking about this earlier of like the importance of investing in yourself. And I mean, that's a big part of doing that.
Absolutely. 100%. That's the number one key that I will share every single time. The number one key is investing in yourself. The number one. And I'm talking key, not just to business, relationship, you name it. Okay. I have a love coach. I have a relationship coach. I have a business spiritual coach. Like I have that because I know the value, because I don't just want a good relationship. I want an epic relationship. I don't just want to grow my business incrementally per year. I want a quantum leap in my business. So that's the kind of life that I want to live. So if I want to live that kind of life, I get to invest in it. I get to place bets on it. And I do that through hiring coaches and joining masterminds.
And do you ever feel like, yeah, obviously you can see the value in hiring coaches, but do you ever feel like sometimes it could be a waste of money, or if you could just like do things yourself? Or is it like, no, there's no way, you always have seen the value and you always will see the value?
So when you're choosing from a space of alignment, right? You're not doing something because you should, because someone says you should hire someone, or someone says
Yeah.
you should hire this person, or you feel pressured into a choice. But if your soul, like your spirit, your heart is really calling you to work with somebody, and that's coming from you, nobody else, and
Yeah.
you feel that calling, and you're ready, like you're ready to go all in. Because here's the thing, you could have the best coach you could have freaking Oprah Winfrey as your coach, and you could accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
Why? Because you can lead a horse to water, you can't make it drink. You've
Mm-hmm.
got to have that commitment. So those are the two things that you must have when you're thinking about investing in yourself and hiring a coach and support. Is number one, choosing from a space of alignment, of pure alignment, and number two would be making sure that you're 100% committed. That when you're stepping into this, and you will, that's why there's so much power in financially, that exchange right there, when you're that transaction where you're putting money in, that's you putting skin in the game. That's you placing a bet on who, not them, on you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the way you got to look at it, is when you're doing that, this person is simply your guide, your
Yeah.
go-to, all those things, but you're the one that's got to do the work, right? It's your dreams, your vision, your goals, not theirs. Their goals, of course, is to help you reach yours,
Yeah.
but it's
Absolutely.
ultimately up to you.
Absolutely. And you, so you talk about this in your book, how you harness the power of like law of attraction, law of action. And I feel like a lot of what you're saying goes back to that. And so I wanted you to expand on that a little bit, because you're very big on taking power back. And you mentioned it in your book a lot. So what does that mean to you? And how have you been able to successfully harness the power of those laws?
So you're saying, when you say take your power back, can you give me some more context on what you mean specifically there?
So I've listened to your videos, and also from your book, like it seems like you have a background of not having felt very powerful. You weren't very confident in your skin. It seems like you were diagnosed with a few mental health issues. And you talk about how with taking your power back, you were able to
Got it.
shift all of this and now turn it around and like turn yourself into this person who wrote a book on confidence and how to be a successful person in business and in life and everything.
Yes. Okay, I hear your question now, loud and clear. So that was a shift from victimhood to responsibility. One of my core values today that I operate from personally, that my whole business, my team operates from, is responsibility. Responsibility equals power. Responsibility says I am 100% responsible 100% of the time. I am source for everything that shows up or doesn't show up in my life experience. I am responsible. Me. It's not their fault. There's no one to blame. I am not a victim of circumstance. I am bigger than my circumstances. I am bigger than said person. I am bigger than said event, right? I am responsible. It's me. If it's to be, it's up to me. That's what responsibility means. So once I got that, I was able to step out of victimhood. I saw what I was causing and creating, the thoughts and beliefs that I was choosing every day, in and out. I got to see what I before maybe was reluctant to see, because I know now that responsibility is power. So when I'm able to take responsibility for everything that's shown up in my life, I'm able to have power over it. It no longer has power over me. You see that? So that's what a lot of women and men will do is they'll give their power away to people, to circumstances, to life events, to situations when truly everything is neutral. Literally everything that happens, even you getting in a car accident, that's a neutral event. You are the one that puts the charge on it, whether it be negative, positive, neutral charge. You are the one that puts the charge on it. Our interpretations create our reality. And whose interpretation is it? Mine, right? So I'm responsible for what? My reality. So it all, do you see how that all ties back? And it's like a complete through line. When you're living from that space, you are living from a space of power. You take your power back.
But like, when did you have that realization? Like, what age?
Oh, that was when I went through ALA, 100%. It's one of their core teachings. They really, that was the moment where I got to confront all my demons. I got to take all my skeletons out my closet. That's when I freed myself. That's when I realized that I was playing a victim in life. And that wasn't what I wanted to do anymore.
They were the ones who like originally provided you with these like structure tools of like beliefs, basically. So they like helped you change your like deep beliefs about yourself and your life.
Yeah, they provide a very structured, intentional container, and they provide you with a set of tools as you progress through the journey, the 4-month journey. And yes, they basically provide the container, the tools, the guides, and you are in there doing the work. Yeah. And it's not a comfortable experience, I'll tell you that much. I mean, I almost walked out of day one. Like, I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Get me out of this place. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. I thought I was going to a conference. This is not no conference. This ain't no workshop. Like, get me out of here. This is weird. I don't want to be here. And I stayed, and I'm so grateful that I stayed and I pushed through that discomfort. So.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So, okay. So, but then how can something like that help you with mental health issues like anxiety, depression, you know, especially because you mentioned that you were diagnosed.
Yes. Yep.
Were you misdiagnosed?
So I have a belief. No, I was not. Okay. So I was diagnosed with severe anxiety disorder. I was popping meds every day for, I think, close to 2 years.
Yeah.
And once I went through this training, and once I started really, again, coming from a space of responsibility, living my life that way, I no longer needed that medication. Like, I've been medication free for, what is it? 5 or 6 years now. 5 years, I think, is when I did the training 5 years ago. And I've not had panic attacks. I've had one panic attack since then, and that was 3 or 4 years ago.
Did you used to
I used to have panic attacks all the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's how powerful we are. Now, I'm not diminishing the importance of, you know, what is available through like standard Western, you know, medical care and psychiatry and all those things. I'm not discrediting that at all. That definitely has a place and space that's very important. For me, I chose a different path. Like, I used to go to therapy back when I was, 18 years old, and I tried that. It didn't really work for me, right? I was still in that same space. And what worked for me to overcome all of that wasn't pills. It wasn't popping pills. It wasn't therapy. It was the container, which is ALA, which is coaching. It's a different form. It's not therapy. It's coaching.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was able to overcome all of that, and I'm so thankful.
Yeah. So thankful. I agree with what you're saying. I feel like there are definitely certain, mental health patients that are, obviously their situation is very severe, and they have to take meds because it's extremely severe. But this also has been proven that like a majority of mental health patients that struggle with anxiety and depression, which are like the roots of all other mental health issues, a lot of them, if they had the right environment, the right coaching, if they even like woke up a little earlier and worked out and like cared about what they put in their body a little more, a lot of their issues would actually go away and they wouldn't really need the meds. It's so much of it is like their beliefs. And I mean, your case is a perfect proof for something like this.
Yeah, that's why I was so passionate about writing the book, truly.
Yeah.
I wanted to show other women who were struggling with what I was struggling with, who were in a similar space. I wanted to show them what was possible for them through my story.
And do you still like have days? I mean, I'm sure you have bad days. Everybody has bad days. But do you ever now have like days where you feel depressed, where you feel so anxious to the point where you can't get out of bed?
Not at that level, but I definitely have days where oh, of course. I mean, we're human, right? We're going to have, it's the part, contrast, right? Contrast. Life is contrast. Literally, light and dark exists everywhere you look. And we as humans are made up of light and dark. There's no human being that is pure only light. I mean, we all have contrast. So yeah, of course I have my dark days, my dark moments, especially even, I'll be completely transparent and share this. I'm actually going to be creating a video soon. I just haven't created the time yet, to share on my Instagram about what this journey has been like for me, finding out that I'm pregnant, right? It was an unplanned pregnancy. So when I first found out, now Gerard, when he first found out, he was ecstatic. He was jumping up and down on the bed. Like, he was adorable. Now me, on the other hand, I'm a planner. I told you I'm a controller. I'm an analyzer. I'm structured. I'm a plan. I like to put things in plan.
Yeah.
Now that is also a very masculine side of me. My feminine is learning to be more in flow, right? And it's more like, for example, this triggered my masculine a lot. It really did, because I had a plan and this wasn't part of the plan. The plan was we got engaged and we were to be engaged for maybe a year, have our wedding, travel a bit more, enjoy our marriage as a couple. And then maybe a couple years, 1 to 2 years later, we have our baby, right?
Yeah.
Baby was always part of the plan, but not right now.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I collapsed. I was crying. I was bawling. And Gerard held me and he said, "Baby, what's wrong? What's wrong? Everything's okay." And I said, "This wasn't part of the plan. No, I'm not ready."
Yeah.
And as you know, ready is a lie. Ready is a total lie. So, but I was in a total dark place. This is the thing, right? There's no such thing. I want to really underline and highlight this for you, for your listeners, for everyone. There is no such thing as being transformed. Like, it's not a destination that you arrive at. It is a journey, because guess what? New levels, new devils. So this was a new experience for me. I'd never been pregnant before. So I didn't know how to handle this. Now, the beautiful part is because I have learned the tools to support me when things like this come up, I was able to shift through something that probably back 5 years ago, if this were to happen, who knows where I would have ended up. You know what I'm saying? Like, truly, I'm like, whew, who knows?
Yeah.
Now, because I have the tools and the support, I went straight to my love coach, straight to my spiritual business coach. I was getting support from all angles. I didn't wallow in it. I was reaching out because I know better now versus back then. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, of course we're going to have dark days. Of course we're going to have new moments pop up and we're like, what the heck is this? Like, I didn't sign up for this. What the hell? And that's all good. But the whole point is that the reason why coaching and like learning these tools and all this is so powerful is that you're so much better at navigating that in a healthy way, right? In a powerful way to create a breakthrough. Because from breakdown is always the opportunity for breakthrough, always.
And it's amazing that you have like so much help and you have like professional help, people that do this for a living. And obviously your fiance sounds like, he knows how to support you emotionally the right way. But it just sucks how some people like don't even have a friend, let alone like they can't afford to see a therapist. I know so many people that have zero relationship with their families and they don't even have a friend. So it's like, in situations like that, what do you think someone like that should do?
Well, here's the thing. There's always a way and everything is figure outable.
Yeah.
That's a core belief of mine. So there is always a way to make a way out of no way.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true. But if your belief is that there's no way, and your belief is that it's hopeless, and your belief is
Yeah.
that you can't afford it, and your belief is that all those things, then that's the reality you're going to create. If that's what you want, great. I'm
Yeah.
assuming it's not what you want. So if that's where you're at, then you get to create a new belief that serves you. I cannot tell you how many times. Now, my group programs are priced significantly less expensive than my private one-on-ones, right? So my group programs, my first one was $2,000. Okay, it's higher now, but my first one I ever created was $2,000, and so you would be like, from that point to the group programs I have now, you would be moved. You would be absolutely moved to see what a woman who is committed to her transformation will create.
I love
Truly.
that.
Because I have seen women move mountains. I have seen women create something out of nothing. Like a woman who's like, I have nothing in my bank account, but I know I need this. Literally call me 2 days later and be like, guess what? I created this and this, and this person did this and da da da, and I have the money. I'm ready. And that woman ends up creating a whole new trajectory for her life.
Yeah.
So it all starts there. You're a source. Remember, you're not a victim to your situation or circumstance. You got to choose from a space of vision, a space of possibility.
I love that. I'm going to be your new customer. The problem is, I feel like something with like women is like women tend to be a little more timid than men when it especially comes to business. And a lot of times we are so distracted with different ways of spending money that it's so hard to invest it in like business or stocks or like the right coaching. You know, like I realized last year when I was like dating my ex, and let's say like $1,000 that I would put in like buying makeup and clothes, and he would invest it in stocks, and I would be like, oh, so this is how we're a little behind. Just because like the same amount of money and we choose to do such different things with it. Just like the lady you were just talking about, like $2,000 is, I mean, almost everybody can, you know, get together $2,000, but it's like, are you going to choose to spend it this way, or are you going to choose to go and like, you know, buy shoes with it?
Yeah. So it's you get to spend money on what matters to you and what you prioritize.
Right.
So a lot of times, you know, even time, like if you could look at money, you could look at time. You know, if you say that you want to, let's just say, get in great shape, like let's just go there for a second.
Yeah.
Take us out of the money talk right now. So if you want to get in shape, but then you're not showing up at the gym and you're not putting in the work and you're not eating healthy, guess what? You don't really want that. Because truly, if it really mattered to you, and if you really wanted it, you would create it. So there's something that's out of alignment there with what you say you want versus what you really want. So that's a lot of what I see happen with a lot of women that I coach, is there's a misalignment there that's having them not get the result that they actually say they want. So it's just about tuning yourself into what actually is happening there. And a lot of times there's also some hidden rewards, I call them, some hidden rewards for you maintaining the current behavior that's not working, right? That's not getting you to where you say you want to go. And we got to just identify what those things are and what it's actually costing you. So there's a lot of like deep internal work that I do with my clients to support them in seeing why they have not created what they say they want today. Like why don't you have it now? Like you want that. Oh, next year I want to be XYZ and I want to have XYZ. Okay, great. Awesome. Why don't you have it now though? Because there's a reason, right? There's a gap that you have created. It has nothing to do with your circumstance, situation, gender, whatever. It has nothing to do with any of that. You're not a victim to your gender. You're not a victim to your, you know, where you live, your location, your country, whatever. You're not. There is something within you that is out of alignment that you get to check. Right? That you get to check and that you get to recalibrate and recode in a way that is actually in alignment with your vision and your desires.
Yeah. And honestly, like living in a country like the States, that obviously like resonates a lot more, because you like get to say, you know what, gender or this and that don't matter. Because like a lot of times in other countries, like where I'm from, like if you're a woman, it's very difficult to, you know, like get past men who don't want to let you, like, you know, climb the ladder and get like higher than them. But if you live in the States, I genuinely believe that if you want something bad enough, like you're saying, you can get it. But what it comes down to is like a lot of times you don't see behavior change unless it's like a dangerous situation. Because even if there's a little bit of comfort, you're probably not gonna have enough incentive and motivation to really get up and do what needs to be done.
That's why there's so much beauty in the contrast. That's exactly what that means. That's what that means. If you look at Esther Hicks' work, Abraham Hicks, she outlines this. She said that it's from those dark places that we form what she calls rockets of desire. In other words, we would not have that rocket of desire if we weren't experiencing something we didn't want, like a dark place. So remember, it is from the darkness that light is born. Like light cannot exist without dark. Like light is literally birthed through darkness. So that is absolutely right. And the other thing is which I just want to say is when you said it's hard, right? It's difficult. It's only difficult if you say so. It's only hard if you say so. I know many clients, team members that are in different countries that have made it happen for themselves, despite the circumstance, despite where they live, despite all of that. There's so much opportunity. Holy crap. Do you know what kind of freaking world we live in these days? You can have a virtual position from anywhere in the world and be making as much money as you wanted to. And that's a belief that I have. And I've seen it. I literally have evidence that I can point to and look at and say, that's real. That exists. It's possible. If it's possible for them, it's possible for you.
Yeah. And it's like, at the end of the day, let's say, even if you are like living in a, you know, third world country that is difficult to get to those places, why wouldn't you at least implement that kind of behavior to really give yourself an opportunity that even if it is in the slightest way possible to get those things, then you can get them. You can get there. You can get the things you want. Like, why wouldn't you implement a belief system that would push you in a way that even if it's possible in the tiniest way, then that possibility is yours? Because it's so easy to like sit and be like, you know, this is my situation. This is the level of family. This is the level of society I come from. This is, you know, the amount of money we've always made. Like these deeply ingrained beliefs in you that are like generational in you. And it's very hard to break that cycle.
So that is, that exists everywhere. It exists everywhere. So that is reprogramming, rewiring. It's absolutely possible. I've had client after client create that for themselves. I've created it for myself. So it's absolutely possible. And it's just about doing the deep work and being willing to go all the way. Truly. If you have a guide who's there to support you, you have the tools, you will create that, and you will be able to change the trajectory of future generations to come. You'll be able to break the chain in your lineage and say, hey, guess what? We're not going to be run by scarcity anymore. We're not going to be run by toxic relationships anymore. Whatever that pattern is in your lineage that you get to break, you get to choose to be source. You get to choose to be, remember, responsible. You get to choose to be responsible instead of a victim to the circumstance, a victim to your lineage, a victim to all those things. Like you can choose to be a victim and then you can perpetuate that victimhood in the next generation, the generation after that, and the generation after that. Or you can choose to be the disruptor and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to be responsible. I want something different for me and for my children, my children's children, and my children's children. So I'm choosing to be source. I'm choosing to be responsible, and I'm going to make a way out of no way right now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's like, you might not have power or control over the things that happen in your life a lot of times, or the people that come into your life, but you always have the power to choose how you react to situations and the people in your life. It's like the attitude, your attitude is the defining factor in everything. Just like you said, You can come from a really bad place. And if you have the right attitude and you have the right mentality and you go after it, at least you have a much better chance. Then maybe you won't 100% make it. There's no guarantee, but you definitely have a much higher chance than somebody who might even be from like a higher class of society and have more money, but they just have the wrong attitude. So somebody that starts from way behind but has the right attitude 100% has a better advantage over the person that maybe has more but just doesn't have the right attitude towards things.
Yeah, your belief system is so, it is so important. It is critical. It is everything. It's the foundation of it all.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's, and everyone has, as you said, the choice
Right.
in what they're choosing to believe and what how they're choosing to react and respond. And that's all coming from their beliefs and their interpretations. So it's really at the root of everything. And that's why doing this work about auditing what you're choosing, because a lot of people don't, by the way, majority of our beliefs are they're at a subconscious level.
Right.
They truly are. Like, we don't even realize, like you, until you start doing the work, you're like, oh yeah, I was actually believing this. Yeah. Like that was my truth. Like and we take, in the word belief is the word lie. That's because all beliefs truly are lies. They are. There's no beliefs that you could say with 100% certainty. Like, could you say that that is true? You wouldn't be able to say yes, whether it's a good belief, one that feels good, or like a dark, crappy belief that feels icky. You wouldn't be able to say. So why not choose the belief that feels good and empowering and makes you happy, rather than the belief that feels icky and crappy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and I love our generation because I feel like we're getting, like, this has become such a trendy subject to like learn these inner mental and emotional techniques that can create confidence for you, that can create certainty, and they can empower you, they can give you focus, and to gain that awareness over yourself and your thoughts and your own behavior and all these little things, you put them together and it leads you to the kind of person, to the kind of behavior that then gives you the results that you want, right? Because it's not just like always like setting a goal and being like, this is the result I want, and just like, what is going after that? What does that insist of? It's all those little inner work. It's that mental toughness that you learn, and you the awareness you gain over your emotional states, and you put all these little things together. Right? Maybe you just handle your anger a little better. Maybe you learn how to get out of bed on a day that you feel a little more depressed and anxious. Maybe you learn what are the things that can boost your serotonin and make you feel better and put you in a better mood so you can like do more work. You put all these little things together that may not at time feel like you're doing so much, but then it shifts you as a person into then the person who gets the results that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Transformation is an inside out game.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so much more internal than external.
Absolutely.
And like these things always existed, but people didn't really know about these things. Like even like a couple generations ago, right? Like I love that this has become such a trendy subject.
So mainstream.
And
It's beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
Right. Like you go on Instagram and like all the posts that you like, I'm constantly reading on my Instagram, right? Like I follow, obviously like creators and people, like so many like empowering people. And like, I feel like I'm constantly reading even when I'm on Instagram. It's like you can learn constantly from everywhere. Like so much information we have. We have the tools now. Whereas like people before didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And so to your point, remember you were asking about the girl or the person who is like, I don't have the money, I don't have the like da. Well, guess what? You have abundance of resources at your fingertips to get you started, right? It's so true. What you said is absolutely accurate. And it's a beautiful world that we live in right now, even though yes, there's a bunch of dark stuff happening. And what you said is I've actually just had this conversation with one of my, I can't remember which family member, we just had a bunch of family over about how awesome it is that this has become mainstream, that this is
Yeah,
something that you can find
I
literally
love
with
it.
every other scroll that
Yeah,
you take on Instagram, on Facebook. Like, it's a beautiful thing that we are, you know, these generations, my generation, your generation, like these generations are truly paving the way for just a beautiful breakthrough, I believe, in
yeah.
our culture as a whole. So, and
No,
humanity as a whole.
I 100% agree. And I mean, like, even as a woman, this is the best time it's ever been to be a woman. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, like, we
Absolutely.
have the most rights, we
Yes.
have the most freedom, we have
Yes.
the biggest voice we've ever had, we are the most heard we've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
So it really, yeah, I agree with you. Like, a lot of it does come down to like victim mentality and like, you know, having excuses, which like we all do. But it comes down to who can put those things to the side more and just motivate yourself. Don't wait for like external motivation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It starts from within. Absolutely.
I love it. Well, we're at our 1 hour mark. Thank you so much for your time. Why don't you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. So I hang out the most on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. So you can hang out with me there. I'm Ashley.Hann. Ashley, it's pronounced Han, not Han.
Oh, okay.
It happens all the time. They're like, and Ashley Hann. I'm like, nope. So,
That's
yep.
why you should do like something like what I did with my name, because like Pani, people just like say Pani. So
Uh-huh.
I made it to Pani like Bonnie, so people would like know how to pronounce it.
Oh,
You
cute,
know what I
cute,
mean?
cute. Love
So
it.
but it's my first name, so people say it all the time. But like people don't say your last name that much to bother
Yeah.
you, right?
And
Or maybe
my
it does.
last name will be changing soon. So,
Ah, there you go. What is it changing to?
Adams.
Oh, that's pretty easy. You don't even have to spell
Yeah,
that.
super easy. Very different than Hannah Wacker, which, by the way, is my full last name. That's where it
I
comes
know. I
from.
saw that somewhere.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I had a great conversation and I enjoyed it a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It was super fun.
Of course. All right. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.